All right, this isn't a strategy video. It's not a sermon breakdown or a leadership tip. It's a word for the ones that are still showing up, even and especially when it feels like nobody's noticing. And frankly, even when you aren't sure that it's even working. This is the part of ministry that's hard. This is Elijah under the broom tree. This is David in Psalms. The issue of planting and not seeing the harvest, of getting up on a Sunday morning and standing behind the pulpit, just ready to honor God with your words, and the seats be empty. Man, that's gut-wrenching. So you've got this weight of the vision, but you're just not seeing the visible fruit. And listen, you're planning the events. You are getting out into the community. You are praying without ceasing. You are doing all of the things that you know to do, and it still feels like silence. And then the enemy, man, he gets to whisper all of those little lies in your ear that what you're doing doesn't matter, that you're wasting your time, that the oil is being wasted, so to speak. It's this part of ministry that we don't talk about, and we need to talk about it today. Can I just first say to you that you are not unseen? The creator of the universe, the one who spoke the heavens into existence, who knows the number of hairs on your head, he sees you. And listen, let me just affirm you today, you are not failing. I know that it feels that way. I know that you are failing according to your expectation and the world's expectation of what you should be doing. But listen, if you are being faithful to the input, doing the things that you know to do, you've got to trust God on the results. Therefore, my sweet friend, you are not failing. And you're also not forgotten. You matter. What you're doing matters. Those seeds that you are faithfully planting matter, and God is taking care of them, I promise. Listen, if all you did this week was just show up, sure, you were probably tired. I imagine you were probably a little bit unsure, but you were still obedient, and heaven calls that a victory. All right, when we step into ministry, what no one tells us is just how long the middle can feel. Because that's where a lot of us are at. We started out, we're super excited, we're ready to go, like the hype is all of there because we know that that harvest is coming. And then it takes a really long time. And so we're stuck in this place where our excitement has now dwindled because the harvest is still very far away. So we're not new anymore, we're established, right? But the harvest isn't coming, we're not fruitful yet. You're the farmer standing out in his field after the seeds have been planted, but no seeds have popped up out of the ground. You're in the middle, and the middle can take a very long time. And y'all, the middle is messy. It is exhausting. And a lot of the times that it's exhausting and messy is because of the expectations that we have put on ourselves. We have expectations of what the harvest will look like. We have expectations of what should be happening in our churches. And when those things aren't happening the way we expect them to, we start to think, did we hear God wrong? Are we wrong? What's going on? And we are constantly in this frame of worry and troubleshooting, and we just cycle and spin. Like, that's why the middle is messy, because we're messing it up with our missed expectations. All right, but here's the truth. We're not burnt out by the ministry. We're burnt out by our missed expectations. It's not that the work is any harder in the middle. It is just exhausting because we're not expecting to be in this place for a very long time. And when we remain in that place and we are not seeing the things that we are expecting to come to fruition, that's when the ministry work becomes draining. So we're being burnt out, not because of the work itself, but because we believe that we're missing expectations. But here's the thing. Those expectations that you have in your head of what success looks like, that's not necessarily what God sees as success. See, we're trying to take our worldly understanding of success and we're examining our ministry and our call with that, but that's never what God has called us to do. Each person has a role and a gifting, and that God is working out, right? God has the plans and purposes for your life. He is in control of what that looks like. And so when you release that, when you let those expectations and those worldly measurements of success go, you'll rediscover the joy of that mission work. Because it was never about the work itself. It was about our interpretation of the success of that work. Listen, here's the truth. Obedience doesn't always feel successful, but it is always seen. And listen, the middle isn't the mistake. It's where the roots grow deep. All right, we've explored the feeling, we've talked about the pain, but how do we practically solve this? Because this is something that as leaders, we cannot risk dwelling on. We have to address this head on. So here are 3 ways that we are going to attack this week, today, to get back in and our flame reignited, right? Yeah, we might be in the middle, but we can still be on fire in the middle. The first thing that we're going to do is we are going to stop comparing our church to other churches. And yes, I know we're doing it. And I know we're doing it because I am doing it, and we need to stop. I remember I was having dinner with a couple of friends, and they were sharing about a church that had planted like a year after our church had planted in a different town, and that it had grown to over, I think, 200 or 300 people. And my eye started to twitch, right? I couldn't help it. But we've got to stop. We have got to stop comparing our church to other people's churches. We are losing the thread when we do that. It is demoralizing, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. And what God is doing in your church is beautiful and wonderful and sweet and delightful. And there is joy within that, but you will rob yourself of that if you are constantly comparing your church to other people's churches. So can we just all agree collectively as pastors to stop doing that? It is creating unnecessary pain in our lives. And it's creating this weird competition amongst our churches, which is terrible for the kingdom of God. Like there's now, it almost feels like we're in like little tiny gangs and we're not allowed to work together, which is the complete opposite of what Jesus prescribes in the Gospels. And so we got to stop doing that. We have got to stop doing that. Stop comparing your church to other people's churches. That is the first thing that we are going to do to get back in track and get reignited in our ministry. All right, the second thing you're going to do is you're going to shepherd your flock. Okay, here's what this looks like. When you have, like, you're sitting, at your table or your desk and you start, like, working on the next event or your sermon or whatever, and you start to feel that, okay, but what about this church, or start to feel down about what's going on, you're going to stop and you're going to shepherd your flock. You're going to pick one person to pray for. Or maybe you're going to send a text to a person. Or maybe you're going to write a thank you note, right? God has given you people that you are supposed to be shepherding. And when you are so busy lamenting over the things that you are A, not in control over, and B, that don't even involve you, right? Then you are missing out on shepherding your flock. Now, let me just back up for a second. Delegation is an important part of shepherding. And I'm bad at it. Let me just be super authentic here with you guys. I am not good at delegating. I am working on it. The Holy Spirit is working with me on being better at delegating, because here's the truth. Jesus could only intentionally disciple 12. So when I say shepherd your flock, I don't mean that you individually have to be the only person responsible for talking to, for reaching out, for appreciating on all of your people. The church should have elders, should have deacons, should have other people in leadership. And so pastors, part of what you need to do to shepherd your flock is to delegate well. And so shepherding your flock, I think that's incredibly important. It will reignite the joy. I promise you. I promise you. As you are loving on your people and pouring into them and serving them and praying on them, it will reignite the fire within your heart. So if you start to feel that little green-eyed monster of jealousy pop up, man, the best thing you could do is stop, take that thought captive, and pivot to shepherding your flock. And the final thing we are going to do is we are going to walk in true discipleship. And here's what true discipleship looks like. It's activating the 99 to go out. That's it. It's activating the 99 to go out. So often we think that discipleship is sitting down in a pew and listening to the message. That is not discipleship. They're getting some knowledge. Discipleship is taking the knowledge and then applying it. That's why when Jesus was discipling in the Gospels, what did he do? He sent them out. Did they do the best job the first time they went out? No. Did he stop sending them out? Also no, because that's how we learn and that's how we grow. And so You're going to stop comparing, you're going to shepherd your flock, and you're going to take your flock and activate them in discipleship to go out and find the lost one. Because I see so many pastors are overwhelmed and burned out because they think the burden of the one, of reaching the lost, is on them. And that could not be further from the truth. That is everybody's responsibility. But it starts culturally with leadership, empowering and activating your people to go out and do that. And so that is why I am super passionate about outreach, and why I did create a couple of resources for churches about that. One, I've got a totally free, it is a 10 outreach idea freebie for the summer. You can grab that in the link below. It has inexpensive, doesn't require a ton of volunteers, outreach activities that you can literally implement this summer to reach your community. And not you, pastor, that you can empower to activate your people to start implementing to reach your community. And then I also created a 52-week church playbook with 52 different outreach ideas. Again, same sort of thing. Inexpensive, doesn't require a ton of volunteers, and it is $9. There's a couple other resources, but those are the two main ones, because outreach is something that churches should be engaged in. But we often aren't, in part because we are so overwhelmed. We are so tired. We're not seeing the fruit. We're comparing our church to other people's churches, and so it's stealing our joy. We are not really shepherding our flock because we're so worried about finding the one, when we should be shepherding our flock and discipling them to be activated to go out and reach the lost. Do you see how that all works together? So this week, if you want to reignite the flame, if you are tired of feeling upset and like you're missing the mark, then do those three things. Stop comparing, shepherd your flock, and activate the 99. And if you want to check out those resources to help activate the 99, they are in the comment section below. Listen, pastors, I've got great news, because you do not have to have it all figured out. You just have to stay faithful to the field that God has given you. Keep showing up, keep sowing, but you have to remember that the harvest is His. Now the obedience, that is yours. So let's go be obedient today.